All aboard! Marcus Conte reporting. Where am I today? I'm getting on my yacht, I think. Or maybe that yacht over there. Or maybe one of those fine yachts down yonder. Where am I today? And why is there no people here? And what is that building right over there? That strange looking building that's all over the news right now. That is the Chinese consulate here in New York City, now allegedly a spy ring, a New York City spy ring. Marcus Conte reporting. Marcus Conte reporting. It's official. Hope I don't get my ass kicked. There seems to be an assault on the press lately, right? You come out, you report. What the fuck are you doing, man? You can't do that shit. I think that's the theme of this video. Is that where does free speech become espionage? Where does free speech become treason? Now, the thing about this area right here, the problem is this. It's still a fine-looking pier out here by the Circle Line. But where's all the people? Where are all the people? Empty. Empty. Oh man, how are you going to run a business if there's no customers? There's the Empire State Building over there. Beautiful. Still standing. The Empire State Building is still with us. You remember when it even survived, not Godzilla, but what was that guy? What was the ape that climbed the Empire State Building? I forgot his name. King Kong. And when King Kong climbed the Empire State Building? The problem we're having down here on Earth is that there's all these boats and all this fine stuff to do. Oh, you could see the Intrepid Museum over there too. I'll show you that. You know the Intrepid? That's where all the war relics are, right? See some war relics. It's a warship, right? Looks like it's open. You can walk on there. I ain't going over there. But we're on the west side of Manhattan. And it's 42nd Street and the west side. You're free to Google map me where I am. And you see some of the war relics. I think they even have one of the rocket ships. One of the capsules is also there. See a lot of Navy ships. It's a big old boat. I've been on the boat many times. And a lot of war relics. That's the outside deck. You can see some people walking around out there, right? And it's been uncommissioned for many years. What wars have they fought for us? What victory battles has the Intrepid done for us? So a couple of stories today. I want to talk about the Chinese consulate over there, and also the news of Trump. The news of Trump being allegedly ahead of the curve on Russia collusion, right? You remember when in 2017 Trump said, no, there's no collusion, they're making it up. Well, it turns out that the FBI was actually right, and there's a breaking story. But first, I want to talk about this story, right? On the note of no one's allowed to. It's really beautiful out here. I want to make sure you see this all, because it's kind of breathtaking out here. It's just, you know, it's hold on a second. I mean, it's just a sign of the times where the pandemic has killed everything. It's still beautiful real estate, beautiful time to be here, beautiful views and such. You don't think of New York City as being kind of, you know, beachfront like this, but it sure is. So anyway, let's take a little walk. Oh, let's look at this thing. What the hell is this? Looks like somebody dropped their propeller. Dude, you dropped your propeller, man. It's fucking... I think you need that thing. Looks like a boat propeller, right? Probably not for a very big boat, but a fairly big boat. Pier 81. Food and beverage. Banquet. Nobody here. No takers. So, we'll talk about those stories. The Trump story, the Chinese consulate, and start you here with a gentleman named Sean Marshall Myers, if you haven't heard. 42-year-old Sean Marshall Myers was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Uh-oh, there's music. Uh-oh, there's music. It's time to get out of the copyright area because YouTube is the police. Oh, as a matter of fact, if you're wondering why I'm here and where I've been, we're live streaming every day. Where you been? We're over at Marcus Conti News. Just go down to the link below. Marcus Conti 2, T-O-O. Marcus Conti News. Just hit the link and subscribe. And we're live every morning. Same time, same place. 9:30-ish, 9:30, you know. And we're still doing our thing over there. Where are you? You're hanging out over here. You're waiting for videos to pop up. We got frozen on the live stream for a while. You could still upload, but can't live stream for 90 days until I fix that shit. All right, we caught a little bit of a strike. But now that you're here, do it now so you don't forget, and you get notified. You'll be notified. Okay, so do that. Right, Marcus Conti News. So, gentleman's name is Sean Marshall Myers, 42 years old, sentenced to 1 year in prison for having a party of 50 and 60 people. 50 or 60, roughly 50 or 60 people. How about that? And this terrible thing, this terrible gathering of people occurred on March 22nd. So that was the height of the pandemic, scamdemic, whatever, panic, right? So it's in Charles County, Maryland. And then he threw another party on March 27th with 50 people. As if to add insult to injury, he threw another party. And the crime of not a gathering, but failure to comply with governor's emergency order. Pow. Now that's fucked up, right? People are going to jail now for assembling more than 50 people. That is some dope. That is dope right there. Give you a little of the skyline here down on the West Side Highway. And we're going to get to this building in a second. We are going to get to the Chinese consulate in a second. We're going to go all across the street. I saw a cop car there with flashing lights. Try not to get too fucked up over there with the police. It's closed right now, but that is allegedly the big spy ring. China doing its spy ring, accusing young people, students, of being Chinese militants, says Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State. You see, these war of words go both ways. The Trump administration is vilifying China in a way that is conspiratorial, and the Democrats are vilifying Russia in a way that is conspiratorial. And both of those approaches are very dangerous to our free speech and our freedoms. Because one day they'll just point that shit at you. You say, oh, yeah, it's free speech. That's not free speech, that's espionage. Because you're Chinese. No, that's not free speech because that's espionage. But you're a journalist. You see how that works? You see how we have to fight against that? So let's just go back in time. The anti-Trump jihad, right? Remember the jihad where they said Trump was a Russian asset? He was working with the Russians, right? All those people working with the Russians, right? And Trump was right about the amped-up Russian probe, says the FBI. Finally, all of these years later, the FBI finally releases a bunch of text messages that kind of sort of prove that Obama was leading the charge. They were waiting for Obama's instructions. And then Obama was kind of wishy-washy, and they started to make up the story, which ultimately convicted wrongly General Michael Flynn. And that whole saga, that whole bullshit saga. Right? But Obama's indicted. So here's the stuff, right? So on January 5, 2017, an FBI employee declared shortly after the then president-elect Donald Trump suggested that officers delay a White House transition briefing on Russian meddling in 2016 because they needed time to build a case. That's what Trump said. He said they delayed the transition briefing on Russian meddling because they didn't have anything. And Trump was right. They didn't have anything, and they made it up after the fact. And I've been telling you all along that there was never any evidence, because the Russia scam was to put Bernie Sanders as a Russian asset until Bernie Sanders folded. See, if Bernie Sanders would have won, then Bernie Sanders would have been the Russian asset. That's how that would have worked. And this Russia scam, the story, the propaganda started in April, May, June of 2016 against Bernie Sanders. They hacked the DNC, remember? And then they shifted to pin it on Trump. Right? They tried to pin it on Trump, and they didn't really have a story, and they were making it up as they were going along. And who was making it up? It was obviously Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, James Comey, the lower level people in the FBI were playing along. They were all trying to kill Trump because they never thought Trump would win. That's the problem. They didn't think that Trump could win. They said, fuck this guy. Just throw him under the bus now, and then we'll make everything disappear when Hillary Clinton's in the White House. That was the thinking. But it didn't go quite that way because Trump won, right? So, and nobody ever goes to prison for any of this shit. That's the crazy part. We're still sitting here waiting for people, right? There's no people in New York anymore. They killed it. Totally killed the commerce. Totally killed it, man. Restaurants dead. Did I mention Patreon? This is how I survive here. Kindly go to Patreon. Working remote. We have to beg. I have to beg you to participate and to kindly contribute. But anyway, we'll wait for some people to come maybe, and I don't think it's going to happen, and we'll just keep reading the news. So regarding Obama's involvement, the FBI said that, quote, "I don't know where he's at," and the sources at the FBI are unknown. They're redacted. Okay? Regarding Obama's involvement, the FBI agent said, quote, "I don't know where he's at, but people are scrambling for info to support certain things, and it's a madhouse." Oh, shit. Isn't that espionage? Isn't that treason? Trying to offset a presidential election because you don't like the guy? That's what it is, right? But then they turn around and they point the finger and say Russia. And anybody involved with fake Russia, they're the asset. General Flynn. Trump. Bernie Sanders got out of the way. They were ready to say Bernie Sanders is a Russian asset. You see, here's the video. He's a Russian asset because he had a honeymoon in Russia with his wife. You see, we got the video. It's pinned the tail on the donkey is what it is. Trump said again. Trump was right. Still not put together. This is the FBI speaking after Trump said it. I'll read you the tweet that Trump did. Trump was right. Still not put together. Why do we do this to ourselves? What is wrong with these people? The FBI is tweeting out. Unknown sources at the FBI. All right? But 2 days prior, Trump tweeted on January 3rd, 2017, quote, "The intelligence briefing on so-called Russian hacking was delayed until Friday. Perhaps more time to build a case. Very strange," says Trump. 2 days before it happened, right? And again, FBI names have been blacked out, redacted. Right? You know, it's outrageous, deliberate misconduct by the FBI and the Justice Department. No consequences to any of this shit. No freaking consequences to any of it. Waiting for some boats to pull out. Beautiful clouds, too. I guess maybe in another life. I guess maybe in the next economic boom, people will come back to New York City and enjoy. But for now, nada. So I did come through. I was going to ride down to Times Square, but I feel a little uncomfortable riding on the bike filming at the same time. It's a good way to get yourself killed. But I just did walk through Times Square, and it's very junky hip hop. You know, there are a lot of homeless stragglers walking around, people getting high on the benches. All true. It is escalating. It's getting bigger. But what there isn't in New York City is there isn't boarded up facilities anymore, because nobody's doing any bashing. The damage is done. You're bashing empty restaurants, empty establishments. 80% of all businesses struck by the pandemic are never coming back. Restaurants, bars, not coming back. So that's that story about Russian hacking, right? So it's just to say that Trump is aware of how these stories are spun. And when it's about him, oh, he defends himself. But now, because he's vilified China for whatever reason, maybe rightfully so, he's okay with that. There's the Chinese flag flying high. That is the Chinese flag flying over the consulate. Because there's a spy ring in there. You heard? This is New York City. I'm not in China. I'm on the West Side Highway. 42nd Street, 12th Avenue. You can Google it. And that's where they keep all the Chinese spies, they say. I ain't buying it, but maybe you will. Chinese spy ring. So, one other story, and then we'll go over there and we'll talk about China. And I'll see how close I can get. So, Trump to nominate Amy Coney Barrett. It looks official. It looks like she will be the next Supreme Court Justice. Amy Coney Barrett. All right, to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's what. They usually don't announce the pick until the pick knows, and the pick doesn't know. She's like, I don't know what. I don't know. All right, so it looks like Trump is publicly nominating her, so she can't say no. That's what they do, right? You remember in the Fog of War when they were saying stop? No, stop. In the Fog of War movie, McNamara was telling us how John F. Kennedy Jr. nominated McNamara. He didn't nominate him. He says he went out in front of the cameras and said, John, with him standing there, without even his knowledge of knowing what was going to be said, the President of the United States at the time said, oh, this is John McNamara. He's the Secretary of Defense. And John McNamara looked at Kennedy and he was like, how are you going to say no? The President of the United States just said you said yes. So I think Trump is pulling a similar shenanigan with Amy Coney Barrett, right? So let's find out who she is. She is a conservative, of course, whatever that means. That would give the conservatives a 6-3 majority. They already have a 5-2, a 5-4 right now, right? And now with Ginsburg out of the way, they'll have a 6-3 if Trump gets his pick, which he probably will. Right? And so that's pretty, the majority in the Senate will rubber stamp it, 54-47 conservative majority or Republican majority in the Senate. So they're going to streamline Coney. I wonder if her name is Amy. She said Amy Coney Island. I'm wearing a Coney Island shirt. Amy Coney. This is my vintage Brooklyn Coney Island shirt. You could barely read it. But anyway, so who is she? She is from South Bend, Indiana. Ah, that's where Buttigieg is from. Pete the Buttigieg is from South Bend, Indiana. She is 48 years old. And she would be the youngest member of the High Court. Very white, very female, blonde hair, blue eyes. This is blonde hair, blue eyed devil. Blonde hair, blue eyed devil. How come little black? How come Trump didn't nominate a black? How come? That shit is racist. Say her name. Say her name. Peona. Peona. That's where we live right now. We live in crazy times, man. It's just crazy. Yo, don't forget to subscribe to Marcus Conte News, or you're not going to see the videos. You got some catching up to do. We already did 2 live streams without you. Get over there. Drive the subscription numbers up. All right. So she's a beautiful woman, 48 years old, a judge from South Bend, Indiana, 48. Youngest, she'll be the youngest. She'll be there forever. She'll be there for 30 years, if nominated. Beautiful smile, right? She's going to allegedly tilt the balance of the conservative Supreme Court right. So, if that makes you happy, then it makes you happy. So as I said, restaurants still not opened. Those are outside ones that I showed you over there. But for the most part, restaurants in New York City are still closed for indoor patronage and will open to 25% capacity starting September 30th. Now, what restaurant in busy hustle bustle New York, dependent on tourists, could survive on a mere 25% capacity inside by law? None. That's why you have 60%. What is this? Listen to this. 87%. 87% of New York City bars and restaurants couldn't pay their rent in August. So they probably couldn't pay in September either. Right? 60% are closed forever. Even with the 25% capacity expected September 30th, they ain't coming back. They are not coming back. 60% closure is bullshit. I'd say it's 80% in New York City. Only the people, maybe that they own the building, you know, the old establishments that own the building. Maybe they'll survive because they don't have any overhead. So let's take a walk now. I'll give you a view. Maybe this might be the last video I ever make. And you're finding it on me as a dead person. Because I'm going over to the Chinese consulate and the Chinese are going to kill me. Because I'm calling them spies. I'm spying on the spies. Just by stepping foot on their property, you're spying on them. Right? That's what they think. And there it is. Oh, shit, the spy ring. There's a spy ring in China. You heard? Spies in China. Fucking crit, man. It's crazy shit. This shit is dope. Dopey. It's not dope. It's dopey. I'm going to have to cross the street here. Just stand by. I'll let you watch the traffic on the Upper West Side here. Traffic! Many, many cars on the Upper West Side of New York City. Many, many bicycles, too, racing by. People. So, again, New York is waking up a little bit, but in all the wrong ways. It's a different economy, a new economy. Economy that doesn't include anything that I'm interested in. You know, the cool stuff, the art, the restaurants. That shit is dead, man. That shit is dead and staying dead. Crossing over so I don't get killed. If I'm going to die, I'm going to do it publicly. There's nothing to worry about. So there's a couple of security guards standing on the corner. And there is a NYPD cop over there. And I believe I'm within my rights to be on the sidewalk, so I'm going to just take a walk. There's really nothing to see. I just want to maybe get some of the markings on the building over here. So let me just put a little distance between me and them. I'll give you the story first. I'll give you the story first.